Welcome back to Investing in Trading Live, sponsored by TradingAcademy.com. My name is Josh Lilquist. In the last segment, we were talking about everybody knows that you're supposed to follow the institutions, follow the smart money when you are trading and investing. Everybody knows that. In the last segment, we talked a little bit more about how to do that, how to have smart investing strategies to trade like them, not against them. And we do that and we illustrate that in these investing classes that we do here at the Academy. And we've had a lot of people texting in for that class. Congratulations to those that did that. If you did miss seats to the investing class that we do here locally in Bloomington, we also have these in Edina, we do in Wayzata, Maple Grove, Woodbury. You can simply just text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. That's text the word investing to the number 210, or simply go to our website, which is investwithota.com, and you can pick your own seat there as far as where you want to attend and what day. We do these during the week and on the weekends. And also, thank you for everybody subscribing and smashing that like button for the podcast. Wherever you listen to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, we do a show almost each and every single day on the morning update of the stock market. So just to keep you informed with what's happening with the stock market in real time. So that being said, in that last segment, Al was talking about in the markets you are hunting for unfilled orders. And I just want to talk a little bit about, he also mentioned it was hunting season, and it just was, and there's another season coming up here this fall. And in hunting, there's a way you can attract wildlife to your property. And there's plots that you can create and plant, and there's different ways to do that. One way would be you have a watering system, so you have irrigation system, so you can at least water it when you have dry seasons, and you go and you disc up the soil and you make sure you get the good soil up there, you plant it, you get the seed down where it needs to be, and then you'll compact it a little bit, roll it a little bit, so it gets a little bit underneath the top of the soil, so it grows, and then you get that fertilizer on there, and there's a process to that. That's what you want to do with a proper plot in attracting wildlife to your property. Now, another way would be what I like to call spray and pray, which would mean you go out to a field and you just take a bunch of seed and you just spray it everywhere, hoping that you get something to grow there. Now, that's very similar to what people do in their financial markets, right? They invest in something and just pray that it goes up. I think you would call it
I call it the toss and stick.
The toss and stick, or poop and scoop, or something like that. There's some different terms you've heard Al talk about here. But there's ways to be strategic with your investing portfolio. And that's kind of what I want you to talk a little bit about here, is how to have a proper strategy, not just spray and pray into mutual funds and all these different bonds and stocks, how to have the right positions based off of your goals and objective with the market.
Well, that's important. You need to know what your goals are. If you want to achieve something, you have to, first of all, know what that is you want to achieve, and then what's the right way to achieve that the most effective and efficient way possible. So that's how we start. We look at everybody as being unique as an individual, and we work on a plan that is specific to that person. There is no one-size-fits-all kind of strategy, and that's pretty much what happens when people listen to go to seminars and webinars, or listen to seminars and webinars, and maybe listen to YouTube. Really what they're throwing out is kind of a one-size-fits-all thing, which really doesn't work. You mentioned what you need to do if you want to be a successful hunter. I mean, you tell me those things, but am I going to be able to do it? Because I don't hunt. I wouldn't be successful at it. You are. Why? Because you do it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it, and you repeat it.
But as I've also been taught how to do that as well.
You have to start with that. So, learning the facts about something is easy. You can tell me what I need to do, but actually doing it is a different thing.
Yeah, so I just gave you the knowledge, and that was it.
Yeah, knowledge alone really isn't that valuable. It's knowing when and how to use that knowledge, and it comes from repetition of using the knowledge in a way that gets you to the point where you can be confidently successful.
Yeah, so in that example of creating a plot for wildlife, a good example would be you come out there with me and I show you how to do that. This is what needs to be done first, step by step, and then that's the same in the financial markets, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like anything that you do, you have to, I'm going to call it getting your hands dirty. You have to actually do it. You have to start experiencing it before you really can learn how to do it properly. And what that means is maybe making a few mistakes along the way, but wouldn't the way to do that be with somebody who can point out to you why you made a mistake?
Correct.
And that's how the core of our investment strategy here, the way we teach people is to take them by the hand, have them do things where they're maybe making mistakes initially and then pointing out that mistake. I just met with one of my students, and he said, yeah, I'm learning a lot, and he's just a brand new student. He said, I'm learning a lot and I'm making a lot of mistakes. And I said, well, are you learning from your mistakes? He said, yeah, every time I make a mistake, I learn why I did it, and I learn something that's going to benefit me in the future. That's what we want to hear. And we have mentioned before, I think maybe even last week you mentioned what Peter Lynch said, about the things have changed to the point where they're in the advantage of the retail trader.
Correct, yes.
I look at that quote. This is the actual quote. The amateur investor has numerous built-in advantages, and this is important, that if exploited should result in his or her outperforming the experts and also the market in general. That's huge. Here's Peter Lynch, one of the most successful mutual fund managers of all time, the Magellan Fund. He is saying that you as a retail trader investor can actually do better than the experts, better than the market. But what did he say? He said you have to take advantage of the advantages that are out there.
Correct.
You have to learn how to exploit them. Well, first of all, you have to learn what they are. What are the advantages that we have over the pros, and then how do you use that to your advantage? And that's all part of a proper education system. Start out with what your goals are, what your objectives are, and then let's figure out a way to get there using these advantages that give us, put the odds in our favor of being successful. And wouldn't that be great if, according to Peter Lynch, you could do this in a way where you do better than the experts in the market in general.
Yeah,
that should be your goal.
And what do they say? Average is what, 7-8%. Whoop-de-doo, right? If that's what people are getting and or hopefully getting, but not in down markets. Obviously, over the past few years, they're not getting that. And Peter Lynch is saying, one of the top investors of all time is saying, you can do better.
Yeah.
So if he's saying that, there's a disconnect from what you're doing and what you need to be doing. And that's why we have these investing classes to introduce that. You mentioned the advantages. Mm-hmm. I know when you teach these classes, you talk about those advantages. You talk about here's an advantage we have here, and here's an advantage we have here. And then how do we apply that into a step-by-step strategy, just like the wildlife plot? How do we apply a strategy step-by-step so something can grow? And that's what we do with any wildlife or any planting. Well, think of your accounts as you're planting something. Once you plant a seed, you want it to grow. Planting that seed would be, okay, I'm going to put X amount of dollars into an account, whether it's a retail trading account or your investment account, IRA, 401k. And then you have to water that seed. How you water that seed is education, building the skills, which is hands-on, like Al said earlier. You might have to get your hands dirty. You might have to do something about it. In the last segment, I'm actually going to talk about, or in the next one, I'm going to talk about the difference between dreamers and doers. So it's just about getting in there, watering that seed, letting it grow, but not just hoping it grows, fertilizing that seed, watering it, making sure you have adequate sunlight. We can only do so much about that, but if you have trees in the way, well, you might need to cut down a couple trees.
It's all managing what you're doing, the same thing that you have to do as an investor and a trader.
Exactly, yeah. It's managing that and protecting that as well. So one way you can protect it, let's just say you have animals that you don't want to have in your garden. What do? You put a fence around it. You protect it from any rabbits or whatever varmint is getting in there on your garden. You can do the same thing on your accounts. If there's a down market, protect that account from a down market. Or better yet, learn the strategies to profit from that down market. And that's called shorting, which we talk a lot about. And that's just profiting in a different direction, not just down, up, because everybody knows that. There's strategies to use the market to profit as it goes down. So we are hunters in the financial markets. You just have to learn the skills, build the skills, and then apply them with a step-by-step strategy. And that's why we have these investing classes. We talk about those advantages that we have, how to get in those advantages, how to exploit them, like Peter Lynch said, and then from there, making smart investing decisions. So I want to invite everybody to come into one of these investing classes. There are 2 hours. Yes, it is 2 hours every time, but that's the difference between a dreamer and a doer. And we'll talk about that in the next segment. But if you are dreaming about this, well, hopefully you're not just continuing to dream. Hopefully you go and do. Come into one of these classes just by texting the word investing to the number 210. That's for 2 seats. When you do that, you'll get a text immediately back that'll have our landing page. There'll be a link in there. You just click the link and pick your own date. If you're on your computer or you like to go straight to the website, simply just go to investwithota.com, and that'll bring you to our landing page to pick your own date and time for this class. And you can come in and check out and see what those advantages are that we have as retail investors. Coming up next, Al, so stay tuned, everybody. I want to talk a little about the difference between dreamers and doers, and then really getting everybody prepared for no matter which way this market goes. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We will be right back.